Hello students, welcome to the tutorial for demand, supply and equilibrium. I hope you have all gone through the lectures. At first we will learn how to derive the equilibrium price and quantity from demand and supply curve. If the demand and supply curve equations are given, how do we get the equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price? We already know that at equilibrium, quantity demanded is exactly equal to quantity supplied, or supply meets demand. So we can first set supply equal to demand. If we put the equations here, we can derive the value for P from here. So P is our price of computers. So this is our equilibrium price. Now, how do we calculate the equilibrium quantity? We can solve for the equilibrium quantity by simply substituting P equals to 8 into the supply or the demand equation. For instance, let's substitute it into the supply equation. And that's how we can get the equilibrium quantity. Next, we will learn how to predict effect on equilibrium price and quantity. What is the effect on the price of a DVD player and the quantity of DVD players sold if the price of DVD rises? What if the price of DVD falls? What if the supply of DVD players increase, or consumers' incomes decrease, or the wage rate of workers who produce DVDs increases? Or what if two of these effects work at the same time? We will solve each of the problems one by one. At first, I want to establish that every time I will have quantity of DVD players on the horizontal axis and price of DVD players on the vertical axis. We will put the initial demand curve and the initial supply curve. We know that the demand curve is always downward sloping and the supply curve is always upward sloping. And from we get the initial equilibrium point at the intersection of the demand and supply curve. If we draw a line from the equilibrium point to the price axis, we get the equilibrium price. And if we draw another line from the equilibrium point to the quantity axis, we get the equilibrium quantity. So now we have the initial demand, initial supply curve, and initial equilibrium price and initial equilibrium quantity. Now, what if the price of DVD rises? So let's be careful about it. We are talking about the market for DVD players. And now we are saying, what if the price of DVDs rises? So what do you think about the relationship between DVDs and DVD players? They are complements, right? We use DVD players to play DVDs. So if the price of DVDs rise, it means the quantity demanded for DVDs will decrease. So less people will buy DVDs. In that case, we will need less DVD players. So the demand for DVD players will decrease. Whenever we have a decrease in demand, we shift our demand curve to its left. This is our new demand curve. So we have our new equilibrium point at the intersection of our new demand curve and our supply curve. So if we draw a line from the equilibrium point to the price axis, we get our new equilibrium price. And if we draw another line, so here we see that the equilibrium price decreased. And if we draw another line from the equilibrium point to the quantity axis, we get the new equilibrium quantity. So if we compare this new equilibrium quantity with the initial equilibrium quantity, we can see that the equilibrium quantity decreased. Now, what if the price of DVD falls? When the price of DVD falls, it means the quantity demanded for DVDs will increase. So there will be more people demanding DVDs. So more people will need DVD players. In that case, we will have an increase in demand for DVD players. Whenever we have an increase in demand, we shift our demand curve to its right. So here is our new demand curve, and this, we get our new equilibrium point at the intersection of the new demand curve and the supply curve. So if we draw a line from the equilibrium point to the price axis, we get our new equilibrium price. So if we compare this new equilibrium price with the initial equilibrium price, we see that there has been a increase in price, equilibrium price of DVD players. Now, what if I draw another line from the equilibrium point to the quantity axis? We can get the new equilibrium quantity. We compare the new equilibrium quantity with the initial one. We see that there has been an increase in equilibrium quantity of DVD players. So we see due to a increase in price of DVDs, which is a complement for DVD players, we see an increase in equilibrium price of DVD players and also a increase in quantity for DVD players. Now let's look at the third situation when we have an increased supply of DVD players. So this is very simple because the question directly tells you that there has been an increase in supply. Whenever there is an increase in supply, we shift our supply curve to the right. So we will get our new equilibrium point at the intersection of our new supply curve and the demand curve. We can get our new equilibrium price here. So if we compare these between the initial equilibrium price and the new equilibrium price, we can see that the equilibrium price has decreased. And if we draw another line for the new equilibrium quantity, so if we compare between the new equilibrium quantity and the old equilibrium quantity, we can see that the equilibrium quantity has increased. So we can say that due to a increase in supply of DVD players, we have decrease in price of DVD players in the market and increase in quantity.